Hey guys, I'm back. Our next story is going to take us back to the wild robot. I was about to say the island, but you guys know better. We're not going back to the island, at least not yet. So you could probably have a hint right there if you want to make a prediction about what chapter I picked to read. But you know our favorite thing about Peter Brown is he writes really short chapters. So instead of one chapter, I'm actually going to read 3. I think it's 3. Chit Chat's here with us too. So get comfortable, get ready. Let's begin. We're going to start on chapter 34, The Delighted Geese. A flock of geese had just landed at Hilltop Farm. It was the first flock of the autumn migration. The geese floated on the pond, cleaning their feathers and nibbling on weeds. But they all stopped what they were doing when Roz waved and said hello. The robot never forgot a face, and she was certain she didn't know any of these geese, but they seemed to know her. Before she even introduced herself, the lead goose squawked, "Is your name Roz?" The robot stared at the goose. "Yes, it is. And you can speak the animal language?" The answer was obvious, but Roz politely said, "Yes, I can speak the animal language. Do you, by chance, have a goose for a son?" "Yes, I do," said Roz. "His name is Brightbill." At that, a voice blurted out, "The stories are true!" And suddenly the flock was smiling and fluttering over to the robot. When the commotion settled down, the leader explained, "All along our migration, we've heard rumors of a robot who can speak with animals, who has a goose for a son, and who is trapped on a farm." That sounded ridiculous to us, but here you are. The flock was absolutely delighted to meet our robot. They lounged around the pond for a couple of days, chatting with Roz whenever she came by. And then they continued flying south to their wintering grounds. Another flock of geese arrived, and the same thing happened all over again. Roz welcomed them, and they were delighted to meet the legendary robot, and then the flock continued south. Then it happened again and again. Before long, the coming and going of delighted geese was just another part of the robot's autumn routine. Straggling behind the others, as usual, was Wingtip's flock. When Roz saw them splashing onto the pond, she felt something like hope that they might have news of her son. Sadly, the geese had no news to report, and as the flock took off and left Roz behind, she began to question whether she'd ever see Brightbill again. Chapter 35, The Memories. Roz still dreamed of escaping, of going home, of reuniting with her son, but her dreams were starting to feel impossible. She was losing hope. Was it time for the robot to accept her new life and forget her old one? Forget. Roz was troubled by that word. You see, her computer brain remembered every detail of her life on the island, and it hurt to think that she might never make it back there. However, the robot could always forget. She could erase her old memories. It would be like it never happened. The heaviness she now felt would vanish. But without her memories, who would she be? No, Roz wanted to remember her old life, which was good, because someone from her old life was about to appear. Chapter 36, The Unusual Flock. Another flock of geese was approaching the farm, but this flock was unusual. It wasn't flying south like the others. It was flying north in a perfect V formation. You guys remember who flies in a perfect V? Think about it. And it was led by a young, graceful goose. The flock flew once around the farm buildings and then delicately touched down into the barnyard. The leader whispered some words to the others, and then he fluttered in through the barn door. The cows looked up from their stalls as the goose perched himself on a railing near the middle of the barn. Then the goose cleared his throat, shook his tail feathers, and announced to the herd, "I am looking for a robot named Roz. My name is Brightbill. I am her son." Chapter 37, The Reunion. Something was wrong with the cows. Their excited moves echoed out from the barn and across the farm. Roz sent the milk truck away for its evening deliveries and hurried off to see what the ruckus was about. When she stepped into the barn, she found the entire herd crowded together. As the robot started pushing her way through, the cows turned to her and smiled. And then Roz saw him, her beloved son, Bright Bill. As you know, reader, robots don't feel emotions, not the way animals do. But in that moment, in that barn, nobody had any doubt about how Roz felt. She rushed forward and scooped her son into her arms. "Bright Bill," she cried, "is it really you?" "It's really me," Bright Bill muzzled his mother's face. "And how did you find me?" said Roz. "Ma, you're famous. You were all anyone could talk about at the wintering grounds. It started with the flocks of geese that stopped here on their migrations. They shared your story with everyone they met. Your story spread from flock to flock, from north to south, from east to west. Eventually, your story made its way to me. I took it off as soon as I heard where you were. I didn't even tell the others. But we caught up with him." Loud Wing, the old goose, fluttered over to the herd and gently landed on a cow's back. "Bright Bill wasn't the only one who wanted to see you, Roz." The rest of the flock appeared, and the robot found herself surrounded by old friends and family. Squawking and mooing and laughing and cheering filled the barn. And then came a loud, clear voice that only the robot understood. "Roz, what are you doing?" The animals hushed. Roz slowly turned around, and there were Jaya and Jad, standing in the doorway. The children had seen everything. Dun, dun, dun. We're gonna stop it right there. You guys remember what happened? If you don't remember what happened, I suggest you go to a library and find that book. And if they don't have the book, request it. And then maybe buy your own copy if you really liked it. I'm sure that there are some cheap out there. So you can see behind me is what I got for Christmas that I asked for. And my mom thought I was crazy because she had no idea any about Roz or Bright Bill. But she got him for me anyways, and he hangs up in my house all the time because I just love it. It sends happy memories only. I remember crying the first time that I saw that picture. Didn't even read the chapter. I just saw the picture and I knew it was coming. And you can tell how much they love each other from that picture. Even though they're a robot and a goose, you can still see all these human emotions that we all feel on these two critters. I was gonna say animals, but Roz isn't an animal. Anywho, so my challenge for you guys for this video, if you remember, there's multiple point of views that happen in this book. Think about the point of views we've talked about. Okay. Down below, I want you to give me an example of one of the point of views and tell me if you saw it in this chapter or not. It'd be really cool. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.